Okay, let's talk about November 8th, 2025. On that day, India celebrated this huge sporting victory. But what happened next? Well, it became something so much bigger.
And I mean it. This wasn't just about runs and wickets. Nope. The impact of this one game, it spilled way, way beyond the cricket field.
It was literally the start of a revolution. So let's really get into it. How did one World Cup trophy set off these huge waves of change across the entire country? Okay, first things first. To really get what this revolution was all about, you have to understand just how massive this moment was. I mean, this wasn't just a game. For millions and millions of people, it was everything. Get this, 185 million people streamed the final in India alone. I mean, that is just a mind-blowing number for any sporting event, anywhere on the planet. And that's not all. On top of that, you had another 92 million watching on TV. So let's put that into perspective, right? We're talking viewership numbers that were right up there with a men's World Cup final. The whole country was absolutely glued to their screens. And this really gets to the heart of the change. A media expert put it perfectly, saying, audiences no longer see women's cricket as the other match, but as the main event. You see, the team wasn't the opening act anymore. They were the main event. They were primetime. So all this new attention, right? Well, it wasn't just talk. Let's look at how it turned into some serious, unprecedented rewards and recognition. And I mean right away. We're talking almost instantly after the win. The BCCI, that's the Board of Control for Cricket in India, they announced a reward of 51 crore rupees for the team and the staff. 51 crore. That was the biggest cash prize ever in the entire history of women's cricket.
And then came the commercial explosion. It was just boom. Endorsement deals for the star players went through the roof, pretty much overnight. We're talking jumps of 25%, 50%, even a full 100% for some.
And this wasn't just brands jumping on a bandwagon. A PR executive said something really telling. For the first time, brands are not just interested, they're genuinely excited. That's a huge difference, right? It signals a real deep shift in how corporate India saw women's sports. And for the players themselves, well, this was completely life-altering. Think about it. Massive cash prizes, plots of land, even high-level government jobs. They weren't just seen as athletes anymore. They were being celebrated as national heroes, and the rewards were tangible, real, and absolutely life-changing. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit, because this wasn't just about the players and brands. The ripple effect hit the institutions too. Governments, the National Cricket Board, they were all jolted into action by this win. Yeah, that victory was a major catalyst. All of a sudden, things that had been ignored for years became urgent priorities. We're talking promises for a whole new stadium in Madhya Pradesh, and, this is so important, proper dedicated changing rooms for women in stadiums in Maharashtra. Basic stuff, but it was finally getting done. And this wasn't some low-level promise either. This came from the very top. The BCCI Vice President, Rajiv Shukla, he said, "Today's victory shows that when we align vision with action, greatness follows." That was a crystal clear signal, right? That investing in women's cricket wasn't just a good idea, it was now a top priority. But as big as all that official recognition was, you could argue the deepest, most profound impact was happening at the grassroots level. It was about igniting dreams in millions of young girls all over India. And when I say igniting dreams, I mean it. The explosion of interest was just, wow. Take a look at this. A state cricket trial that used to get maybe 40 girls. Well, after the World Cup, that number jumped to over 500. Coaches said the demand was unprecedented. Their phones were literally ringing off the hook. And that right there, that connects to something so much bigger. It's about a real shift in society. This quote from a father at an academy just says it all. So many more parents will bring their girls for training now, and that can change society. See, it stopped being just about cricket. It became about changing mindsets. And you can see that change in thinking in this one amazing little story. Apparently, some neighbors told a player's family she was hitting like a man, and her family proudly corrected them. They said, "No, she's hitting like a woman." What a powerful moment. It's about completely reclaiming what it means to be a female athlete and celebrating it for what it is.
So these players, they became instant role models. And their own stories of struggle, things like Shefali Verma having to cut her hair short just so she could play with the boys, or Deepti Sharma training for hours in the streets, those stories are now becoming these incredible tales of inspiration. And the message behind it all is so clear. The next generation shouldn't have to fight quite so hard just to get their chance. So all of this brings us to the big question, right? What happens next? All this incredible, powerful momentum, how do you turn that into real, lasting, sustainable change? Well, here's one of the biggest hurdles that's still there, and it's a big one: pay. A top female player's central contract is around 50 lakh rupees. For a top male player, it's 7 crore rupees. That is a massive gap. And closing that gap, well, that's a huge, crucial step if we're talking about real equity. So what's the game plan to keep this going? Well, there are some really concrete steps on the table. Things like making the Women's Premier League even bigger, creating way more tournaments at the school level, investing in female coaches and all the support staff, and, this one's key, getting long-term corporate funding locked in, not just those flash-in-the-pan endorsement deals. And really, who better to sum it all up than the captain herself, Harmanpreet Kaur? She put it so simply: without this trophy, the revolution, the change we want, wouldn't come. That says it all, doesn't it? The win wasn't the destination, it was the spark. It was the trigger for this whole entire movement. So there's no doubt about it. The revolution has begun. But that leaves us with one final and really important question to think about. Is all this incredible momentum, is it actually enough to build a true, lasting empire for women's sport in India?